Have you ever heard of a beller? A beller is somebody who needs to buy and sell. That means in order to buy your next property, you have to sell the current property that you're in. There's many ways to be a beller, but here's the 3 most common strategies we see with our bellers. First strategy, you are buying and then selling your property. The pro with that strategy is that you get to lock in your home. The cons are that the seller for that property you're buying are often not excited to work with a contingent buyer. They don't know if you're gonna sell your house right away or it's gonna take a long time. And they're worried about a buyer backing out of escrow because they can't sell their house in order to buy their listing. Often when you're buying before selling, in order to make the seller pick your offer versus somebody else's offer, you have to offer a little bit more money and be really strong with your terms. You're basically trying to convince the seller to work with you even though you might be a more difficult buyer compared to somebody else. The reframe way to make our bellers seem stronger than ever is to actually get all of the photography, videography, marketing done before we even go out and make those offers. If we're putting an offer on a home and we're telling the listing agent, hey, look, all of our media is done. We press one button and we go active on the market and we're gonna get your home sold really fast. They're gonna have a lot more confidence in us than if we tell them that we're gonna plan to sell their home as soon as possible. Let's talk about strategy number 2. That's when you're selling before you buy. In this situation, a lot of sellers will sell their home contingent on finding a replacement property. The pros of that strategy are that as a seller, you actually get a contingency, and usually sellers don't have contingencies in escrow. If you go out and you look for homes and you don't find your dream home, you can pull out and keep the property that you're in. The cons with that strategy are that you do have a slightly smaller buyer pool because a buyer may not be willing to work with a seller who could pull out because they don't want to lose the home that they're offering on. Typically, as a seller in this situation, you'll have a few weeks to identify that property, so you don't have forever. But remember, everything is negotiable. And the third option, option number 3, is also selling before you buy, but it's without a contingency. In this situation, sellers are asking the buyer for extra time during escrow and maybe even a rent back after the close of escrow. Typically, sellers are asking for 30 to 60 days when they need to go find that replacement property. This is for a seller who's confident that they love some of the options on the market and they're ready to start making offers as soon as that buyer removes contingencies. One of the biggest pros with this strategy is that you have so many more buyers who are interested in your property because they don't have to work with a seller who has contingencies. Ultimately, the more buyers you bring on the property, the higher an offer you should receive. The big con here is that you have to ask for a rent back, but it's not as hard as asking for a contingency. There's many ways to be a beller. Some lenders offer bridge loans so that you can go buy another property before selling your home. But these are the 3 strategies that most of our bellers like to use. As with any of these strategies, it's not a one-size-fits-all, but I hope that this video was helpful for you. If you guys have questions, you can always let us know. We're here to help.